Assalamualaikum and a very good day to everyone. So now we have reached the final chapter, which is chapter 5, right? So this chapter 5 is about implementation phase. Right, before this, we have learned a lot of chapters from chapter 1 until chapter 4. Then we have learned about the initiation phase, right? The beginning of the phase, and how are you going to plan, right, the budgets and everything. So that is initiation phase. And then after that, we also have learned about the media and protocols, right? How are you going to invite the media, identify which media that can collaborate with us, right, during the event itself. And then also the protocols, right? How are you going to make our event flows become smoother, right? And then we also have planning phase. How are you going to plan, right, in terms of queuing system, for example, right? And then how we're going to plan about the catering or the foods, right? So that is a planning phase. And then now the implementation phase itself, where we will learn about how we're going to implement, such as the layout, right? What else? The stage, right? The stage of the event, and then also the space for the activities that we have in our event. Of course, during the event, we will have several activities that we're going to conduct, right? So now these are the operational aspects overview. So the first one is the logistical coordinations. Of course, during the event itself, there will be a lot of vendors that going to join our event, so we need to provide service for their logistic purposes. Right? Logistic maksudnya dia orang mengangkat barang, and then all the equipments that they're going to bring into the event space, right? So how are we going to do that? So we need to provide the loading bay, right? The unloading bay, and then maybe a trolley for them to carry all the things. So how are we going to do that? Then where they need to park their vehicles, such as lorries. So we need to make sure the loading bay and unloading bay is also provided for them. Then next one is the venue setup and layout. Of course, event have a lot of type of events, and we have concerts. What else? We also have seminars. We also have, for example, like conferences, right? So the venue for each of the event is different. So we need to set up and set the layout properly, right, according to the event itself. Right, next one is registration and guest services. Of course, the registrations is really important to make sure we capture the numbers, right, of the visitors of our event, so that we can do the postmortem at the end of the event later, right? So how are we going to provide, right, these kind of services, such as registration and also guest services? So maybe we will put the registration counter, or just a simple table at the entrance of the event venue, right, for them to fill in the forms and everything. Or we also can use the digital, right, digital registration approach, right? So maybe you can create our own mobile apps and then send the link to all the audiences and also potential speakers, for example, so that they can install the mobile apps earlier and then do the registrations just by using that mobile apps, right? And same goes to guest service. So maybe these mobile apps, we can include a lot of information, such as event itinerary, what else, the layout of the event maps, right? So that they can easily identify where is the activities that they would like to go, right, happen. So that is for the registration and guest service. And then next one, safety and emergency preparedness. Of course, the safety aspect, right, of our audience is really important. So we need also to prepare for it. Right, make sure all the safety aspects is taken into considerations. For example, if the activities or the event activities is kind of risky, maybe we can invite invite, or we can ask services from the hospital or clinics nearby to prepare the ambulance for us. And then what else? Maybe we can share some of the actions that need to be taken by our visitors, right, before they come to the event on the actual day, right? And then next one is technology integrations. Of course, whatever technologies that we're going to use, such as VR, right, virtual reality, or AR, augmented reality. And then what else, if we need to provide our audience and visitors Wi-Fi, so we need to install, right, the Wi-Fi modem. What else, the Wi-Fi routers, for example. So this kind of technology need to be also taken care by us, right? And then timeline management, right, the event schedules, right, with contingency plans for delays. So the timeline management, so meaning to say that, let's say our event is happening for 1 or 2 days or 3 days, right? So we need to properly design, right, the schedules. Day 1 pukul apa, and what are the activities for day 1, day 2 what are the activities, day 3 what are the activities. So let's say the activities is for example the event activities is happening at outdoor spaces, right? For example, like Zumba or any fitness activities. So maybe if there's anything happens, such as a heavy rain on the day, so maybe we have our own contingency plan, right? For example, we will prepare one space, right, for backup, an indoor space, for example, so they can move, right, from the open space or from the outdoor space to the indoor space. So of course that process will take some amount of time. So we need to have this kind of backup plans, right? And then catering and hospitality, food services and coordination of VIP hospitality suites, all right, such as VIP lounge, for example, right? And then also the foods. Yes, food selection is very important. So we need to know who are our target audience, right? So let's say our target audience are the local people. So maybe the local foods is not a problem for them, right? Let's say our target audiences are from people around the world, right? International audience. So maybe local foods, some of the local foods is not really really fulfill their appetite, right? Si hanya bapa selera lah untuk makan makanannya. For example, like mi belacan, right? Mi belacan mungkin only certain international visitors or international guests yang dapat accept, right? Who can accept the taste of mi belacan. So maybe we can provide international foods lah, such as pastry, what else, pasta, for example, or maybe just breads. Okay, so that is for catering. And then last one is waste management and sustainability. So how are we going to manage our waste? And we have solid waste, we also have apa lagi, waste yang bentuk cair. So how are we going to manage this kind of waste? Maybe we can want to place the rubbish bin right near the vendor booth, right? So maybe 2 booth will share one rubbish bin, right? Atau dustbin, right? Maybe 3 booth will share one dustbin, right? So how big the dustbin, and then how are we going to collect all the rubbish bin, right? And then how frequent we going to collect the rubbish from the rubbish bin. So that kind of aspects also need to be taken into considerations, so that the place or the event venue will not be smelly ataupun akan nampak bersih lah, kan? Right, at all time. Okay, next slide. Right, okay, next slide is about venue setup and layout. Right, as I mentioned just now, right, as I mentioned before, that event, we have different kind of event, and we have conferences, we also have like concerts or mini gigs. What else? We also have maybe just a very simple seminar. So how are we going to set up the venue, and then how are we going to do the layout of the events, right? The first one, all right, you can see it here, right? Spatial planning, right? Efficient allocation of space for various activities. The next one is strategic positioning of functional area. So right, we need to plan on the space itself, because space is very limited, right? Some of the event venue space is very limited, so that is why we need to allocate it properly, right? First of all, we need to identify what kind of event that we're going to organize, right? Let's say the event that we are going to organize have a lot of activities, right? For example, what we have done right before, right? What we have done before, which is a bubur pedas, right? Bubur pedas pesta, right? So this bubur pedas, we have three kind of activities if I'm not mistaken. We have cooking competitions, we also have coloring contests, and then last one is Zumba or fitness activities. So we need to allocate the space properly. So how much space that we're going to allocate for fitness activities, how much space are we going to allocate for coloring contests, and also how much space we need to prepare for cooking competition. So that kind of things need to be taken into consideration. Same goes to functional areas. For example, like opening ceremony, where which part of the event space is very suitable for this opening ceremony. Of course, we need to install the stage, right? Then the rostrum, for example, for the speakers to speak or give their talk, right? So we need to plan properly. And then next one is deco and branding, right? Of course, decorations, right, need to be done, right, to make the place become more lively, right? For example, like our pesta bubudas, we have flowers or some small plants, right? We place it in front of the stage, or this kind of decorations also need to be planned, right? Plan accordingly. All right, and then placement of signage. Where are going to place our buntings? Where are we going to place our banners? For example, like previous one, Pesta Bupedas, we place our buntings dekat sini at each of the side. Sorry, each left and right of the stage, right? So that is how are we going to plan our signage. So it can be different kind of approach, right? For example, we can also include, or we can place the signage or the brand signs such as banners in front of the entrance door, for example, right? So to make the brand become visible to our potential guests that come to our event, right? As you can see over here, this is the example of the layout. We have a performance stage, VIP lounge, catering, registration, and networking area. So as you can see, the size of the box is different, right? The performance stage is the biggest space that we're going to use. So we need to plan properly. Okay, then these are the tips of best practices, and we have three that being shared on the slides. Right, the first one is site visit. Of course, we need to do a site visit so that we can understand, right, which site or which angle is have a very good accessibility, so that we can place that angle, right, for our VIPs, because VIPs is very important individuals that we need to entertain, right? Of course, dia pun accessibility paling senang untuk dimasuk, right? Paling senang untuk dilalu, right? Then what else? The size of the event, we need to measure it properly, right? How big is the space for the cooking competition, right? We need to measure, and then we need to take down the notes so that we can draw a layout like this or a diagram like this when we have went back to our office or our working space, right? And then number 3, detail program. Number 2 detail diagrams, so like this lah, right? Need to draw, right, a diagram so that we can place the diagram, or we can print out the diagram and then place it at the entrance of our event, so people can see, and then people can identify which space that they would like to go, right? Let's say that nanti adalah cooking competition pun participants, so they can see dekat diagram tu, and then they can directly go to the cooking competition space directly. Okay. Number 3 is ensure compliance with accessibility requirements, right? For example, we have invite our guests, or our some of the audience have physical disabilities. So of course we need to ensure all the equipments or all the accessibility that suitable for them. For example, like wheelchair ramp. All right. Maybe we also can provide the macam tongkat kah, right? Tongkat for them macam orang tua lah, right? Orang tua. So this kind of equipments, right, ataupun requirements need to be fulfilled. Okay. Okay, this slide is about logistical coordination, vendor management. Right before this, on the previous slide, we have discussed about the venue setup and also layout. So of course, once we have selected our venue, we have done all the layouts and also the setup. Of course, we need to very selective, right, in selecting our vendor, right, because the venue itself, some of the venues have limitations in terms of logistical part, right? So we need to select our vendor properly lah, right? Make sure all the vendors equipments can access, right, our venue. So mun kita pakai venue kecil je, for example, right, just a small venue, sekanlah kita nak invite all vendors yang ada barang yang besar-besar kan, equipments yang a lot of big equipments, right? Macam venue kita ya kan dekat Metro City for example. So we just invite vendors that can display their things or their items at the venue on the table, right? On the table, and maybe just a small booth lah, right? So let's say then we invite vendor kan yang ada nak display daknya pun peti ais ke washing machine. So of course that kind of vendor is not suitable, right, for Pesta Bubu Pedas, right? And then number 2 is about contract negotiations. So we need to create an agreement or contract with our vendors, because some of the vendors maybe they will bring such as computer atau laptop, kind of valuable things, right? For example, let's say one of the activities is we offering like sim racing, and then there will be computer company or a video games company that will come, and then they will bring daknya pun consolation games pun console, right? Games console ataupun any games pun equipment lah. For example, like sim racing kan, sim racing ada steering, right, and then ada monitor and everything, and then of course they will bring that kind of equipments to our venue, and then let's say our venue will last long from day 1 until day 3. Then we have 3 days of the event, and then they need to keep their things at the venue. So kita akan melakukan contract lah. We need to create an agreement, right? For example, let's say kita Malaysia, okay, whatever equipments that you going to leave at the venue, and is all under your own responsibility, right? Ataupun under your own risk. That kind of contract lah. Then we need to prepare all the documentations in details or thoroughly. Okay. Then next one is communications. Communication is the key, right? We need to communicate with our vendors, right, from time to time. So let's say if there's any changes, we need to update them, right? And then deliveries, right? Deliveries of things. Okay. The loading bay, macam saya tadi at the beginning of the my lecture, right? How are you going to prepare, right, or arrange their loading activities, right? Maybe we can just simply provide like a trolley or simple service for them to carry their things from the loading bay to the event actual space, right? And then last one is evaluations, right? So we need to do evaluations, right, for our vendors. Then we need to evaluate them so that we can know do they really good in doing things. So let's say they're not really good, so of course in the future we will not invite them anymore lah, right? And then we also have quality control over here, right? Conduct inspections upon delivery. So we need to check items, right, one by one. So make sure everything is in a very good conditions and there is no items that broken, right? Quality issues, and then so forth lah, right? Quality control, and whatever they send to us, can we need to make sure all the items is in a very good conditions. And then problem resolutions, right? Anticipate potential issues proactively, encourage vendors to communicate challenges, or else collaborates on solutions. So we need to communicate tadi, right? We need to communicate effectively with them so that we can find solutions together with in order to overcome any unpredictable situations that happening during the day, right? And then feedback and improvement. So yeah, gather feedback from vendors post event. So what are their feedbacks from our event, kan? Do they have make a lot of sales, for example? So let's say in terms of sales they are doing good, so maybe they can give lah, atau maybe they can write up some of the very good comments on our feedback forms. Or let's say there's a lacking of our services, then they can fill in at the feedback forms, kan? And then uh, highlight and whatever services that we are lacking of, so that we can improve in the future, right? To the next slide, right? Next slide is about equipments and infrastructure management, right? Of course, all the vendors will bring their own equipments. We're going to our event spaces, and then they will install all the equipments accordingly. And then these are the six things that need to be taken into consideration. The first one is inventory management. So of course we need to have a checklist and how many things, how many equipments, what type of equipments they're going to keep overnight at our event space, right? Then we need to make sure everything is okay, right? And then also the checklist need to be submitted to us, and for each of the equipment, and then we need to check, and each of the equipments that they have listed down is betul-betul berada dekat event. Okay, next one is a technical setup, right? We need to test the technical equipments, conduct early testing, and also coordinate with technical teams for the setup, right? For example, like microphones, what else, like speakers, right? And then LED, right? LED screen, and so forth, right? And then also venue infrastructure, right? Conduct site inspection for requirements. What else? We also have coordinate with venue for infrastructure needs. Infrastructure macam tadi lah, right? For example, like Wi-Fi ataupun telephone lines, for example, right? And then what else? Maybe VIP lounge, right? So VIP lounge maybe nya pun infrastructures a bit special lah compared to public event space, right? And then contingency plan, right? Establish plans for technical failures. So what are the technical failures that we expect going to happen? So of course we need to have our own plan. All right, for example, like if there's problems with microphone ataupun speakers, so we need to what are the contingency plan that we have and as an options. So maybe we can just standby a Bluetooth speaker with microphones at the event space or dekat dengan stage lah, right? And then number 5, compliance and safety. Ensure technical setups comply with regulations, right? Communicate emergency protocols. Any technical setups such as sound system, what else? Visual pun equipments. So make sure that pun power supply that they use is not exceed, right? The power requirements that are being set by the event venue pun provider. Right, last one, number 6 is post-event dismantling. Right, plan efficient dismantling of equipment and dismantling, and then apa lagi? Conduct inventory check for damages. So once the event has ended, right, we need to dismantle everything. Kita kena dismantle pun kemah, right, the canopies, what else? Also the booth, right, and then make sure every things or equipments that have been listed down dekat checklist is in good conditions, not broken lah, right? Us about registration and check-in processes, right? Of course, the registration we have pre-event registration where the audiences or our visitors need to register right before they enter the event, right itself. So maybe few days before, right, ataupun 1 or 2 days before, they need to register it using online, right, online platform. Right, next one is technology integrations or QR code and mobile check-in. Maybe we will use this kind of technology lah. Right, once they have do the pre-event registration, we will send the QR code to them, and then on the day of the event itself, or on the actual day of the event itself, they need to show this QR code on the entrance, and then need to scan this QR code as well, right, to enter our event. And then on-site registrations, so this one also need to be conducted, because some of the visitors, they just walk in, right, they just walk in because not every people akan away pasal our event before the actual day of the event. So let's say macam ada lah orang-orang yang passing by kan our dekat our event venue on the day, and then dia rasa interest to join, of course we have to entertain them as well. So that is why on-site registration, such as providing a registration counter ataupun just a simple registration table in the front door, right? And then of course kita boleh apply macam-macam lah. Just for example like manual registration using a form, ataupun just use a laptop and then we just key in their particulars using our laptop, right? That is on-site registration. And then next one is badge distribution, so access badges and information packets. Badge distributions, of course, different, some of the events have different package atau different badge, right? Maybe ni ada orang ada bronze pun kategori, ada silver pun kategori, ataupun gold kategori. Even they also have macam platinum pun kategori, right? Macam concert selalu, right? Concert ni ada macam standing audience, ni ada sitting pun audience. So maybe sitting pun audience is a bit baguslah jangan paket, right? Maybe yang akan dapat free t-shirt kah, right? So that kind of things need to be prepared, right? For example like ada sikit lagi, dan concert selalunya yang ada meet and greet pun session lagi. Meet and greet maybe nya pun merchandise lagi banyak lah, not only t-shirt, but they also will have caps, and then what else, they will also have macam fans kah, right? Ataupun apa nama battery pun fans, right? So that kind of thing lah, right? Batch distribution. And of course our staff need to be trained properly kan on how to do this kind of registration and also check-in, right? So that they can solve if there's any issues happening. For example like QR code is not working, so what are the actions need to be taken? Teruslah pula apa nama fill in the form manually, right? What are the things what else that they need to do, kan check the system, right? So they need to be familiar with the system lah, right? Macam registration online, registration pun system, how to check, right, the database of the visitors that have registered, right? That kind of thing. Okay. Then real-time analytics, right? Monitor attendee flow to prevent bottlenecks and allocate resources effectively. Some of the space, so maybe we can just set kan limit amount of visitors, to make sure the quality of the activities is in a very good quality lah. Dia pun experience, right? So the visitors akan dapat experience yang baik, right? Macam for example like gaming pun areas, gaming activities pun areas mun terlampau crowded, of course dia akan affect not only the players but also the other audience as well. So we can limit lah for gaming activities like console gaming pun activities. Jadi kita akan limit seorangnya boleh enter that space hanya dalam 1 jam aja, and then they need to go out. So that kind of thing lah, right? And then security measures, right? Implement verification protocols to ensure check-in security and manage access. How are we going to manage the security? Do we need to check dia pun bag Kan some of the audience yang akan bawa sling bag, right? We need to check if we need to check the bag, right? What are the things that they going to bring? Kita nak check, right? And then at the front door ataupun registration pun space kita akan list down kan everything ataupun every equipments that is not allowed to be bring into our event space, such as macam vape ke ataupun apa lagi, cigarettes for example, and then maybe a small knife, right? Kita kena list down everything. Okay, guest services and support, right? Information desk need to be prepared ataupun need to be set up at the event venue, because a lot of audience will ask a lot of things during the event, and what are activities that we have, right? What are the facilities that we provide, right? How they are going to find macam foods ataupun the facilities that they want to use, for example like surau ataupun prayer room. So this information desk need to be there, and then we need to have ataupun we need to assign our team, right, ataupun our staff, right, that have this kind of knowledge to be at the information desk, right? The next one is navigation and signage. Install prominent venue signage. What else? Provide event guides and ambassadors. Then ensure clear pathfinding directions. So the signage need to be there, right? For example like macam signage macam ni nak pergi ke console gaming pun space, for example ni akan ada for example like every 10 meters ni akan ada sikit signage lah ataupun stand that will tell where the audience need to walk, right? That is kind of signage also need to be provided, right, for our visitors, right? Next one is communication channels. Of course a lot of information need to be delivered, and then the public announcement systems, macam speakers, right, and then also microphones, right? We need to have that kind of things. And then if we just need to use a hailer, kan macam dekat icons dekat betul lah, this icon, right, hailer ya. If we just need to use hailer, we can provide hailer, right, to for our staff to make any public announcement. And because during the event itself macam-macam benda yang akan terjadi lah, right? For example like double parking lah, right? So we can do this kind of public announcement lah, right? Okay lah. Okay, for example lah, okay, ada orang double parking, right? Okay, ada the owner of the vehicle with plate number QAB 7482C, please move your vehicles because your vehicle is blocking our VIP pun accessible path, for example. That kind of thing lah, right? Of course we need to have, right, a very proper public announcement pun systems, alright? And also mobile alerts for updates. This one is maybe we have macam mobile apps tadi, that all any when the update notifications or update info, we can just simply distribute it through mobile apps. And information booth for inquiries, right? And then number 4 is special assistance, accessibility services, apalagi reserve seating for needs, then multilingual staff supports. So mana-mana ada audience ataupun our invited speakers that have problems atau difficulties, alright, in terms of macam walking ke apa ke, so we need to reserve very good seats for them lah, right? Maybe the seats that we reserve for them is really close to washrooms, for example. That is kind of assistance that we have to do. And also multilingual staff supports, right? Of course when we organize any event, we need to choose a few of the staff or any volunteers that have this multilingual pun skills that can speak ataupun have the ability to speak in multi-language, right? Not only Malay or English, but also Mandarin, for example, right? Arab. So let's say our event is an international event, so like Arab, what else, maybe France, right? Indonesia, that kind of assistance we need to provide as well, right? Then emergency response, right? Staff emergency training, bagi first aid stations locations. First aid is very important, right? Make sure we have at least 4 or 5. It depends lah. It depends on number of visitors, right? How big is our event, right? Our first aid need to be provided as well, right? And staff emergency training tadi macam for example like they know how to do CPR, right? Let's say if there's any audience that face any macam broken leg atau broken arms ke apa ke, how uh, are we going to handle it? Of course, we need to have our staff ataupun volunteers that have this kind of knowledge on how to treat people that facing any health problems during the day, right? And clear emergency procedures. For example, like macam assembly point. Where's the assembly point? Of course, macam tadi signage. Signage need to be displayed clearly lah, right? Apa lagi? Feedback and improvement. Distribute feedback forms. Apa lagi? Collect post-event input and then implement improvements. Macam forms yang I ask you guys to fill in. So that is some of the feedback forms. I need to know how effective is our event, how attractive is our event, and how beneficial is our event to them, right? Okay, to the next slide. These slides will discuss about safety and emergency preparedness. I think this one I'm not really go into it because this is kind of like a common sense thing, right? We have security measures and also emergency response plan. Of course, security measures macam tadi saya dah lah. We need to check whatever things ataupun dangerous things atau dangerous items that they trying to bring into our event. Of course, we need to check everything lah, right? We need to assign personnel ataupun staff that will do the checking, right? Make sure everything is safe to be bring into our event, right? And emergency response plan is about evacuation procedures. What else? Medical response, first aid stations, right? And then also communication system, right? Effective communication tools for staff coordination and addressing issues promptly, and also evacuation procedures, right? Clearly mark exit routes dan assembly points macam saya tadi. If there's anything happen like fire ke atau ada benda yang terbakar ke, we need to set the assembly points that so that all the people can gather to that assembly points lah, right? To make sure everyone is safe. Okay. Then technology integrations, event apps and software. Alright, if we have our own event mobile apps, right, we will give any updates info to that mobile apps lah, right? And then digital networking capabilities between attendees. So maybe that kind of mobile apps, right? They can chat with each other, macam like our social media platform juga lah. That kind of features maybe we can include dekat our mobile apps pun. Software, right? And then communications tools, right? Dedicated channels for staff coordinations, for the instant messaging for prompt issues resolutions, two-way radios for on-site communication. So maybe we can use macam walkie-talkie, for example, to communicate with each other, kan? Among staff to our staff, right? And real-time analytics. Kan monitor attendees flow. This one macam saya dah lah, we need to track kan engagement with different event sessions and activities. So make sure if that particular activities, right, we need to set a limit numbers of people to enter that kind of activities, right? We need to monitor and make sure the limitation number of visitors will not exceed, right? Then waste management, waste disposal strategies, pre-event planning, right? Conduct waste audits to estimate types of volumes, strategically place waste bin throughout the venue. This one dah waste bin. Sometimes the event kita tak nampak pun, kan even plastik sampah yang biasa aja, yang basic aja pun kena sedia. So we need to plan, alright? Make sure and all the waste can be managed easily, right? And communication and education, ensure clear signage and on waste bin, include disposal guidelines in pre-event communications. What else? Vendor collaborations, provide guidelines to vendors regarding sustainable packaging. Macam for example strawless, si pakai straw ataupun yang pakai straw yang paper straw, for example, we need to set the requirements, right, to our vendors on whatever non-recyclable items are not allowed to be used, for example. Okay, we need to collaborate. We need to communicate with our vendors. And then waste sorting stations, set up stations for attendees to segregate recyclables, then have volunteers guide attendees at sorting stations. And then sustainable initiatives and recycling programs, so maybe you can place different bins for different kind of items, one for plastic, another one for papers, and another one for bottles atau glass, for example. And then reusable options can opt for usable plates, cup, and utensils. Set up water station with reusable cups to reduce bottled water use. So plastics macam tapau plastik saya kita try to avoid to use it, right? Untuk makan, for example like catering, right? Catering jangan pakai banyak plastik lah. So we choose the catering that use like plastic plate, right? Ataupun just normal plate, and then also normal fork and spoon lah, so that this fork and spoon can be washed and be reused, right? And then energy efficient practices, use energy efficient LED lighting, and encourage vendors to use energy efficient appliances and practices. So this one is energy saving pun equipments, right? And then green transportation, right? Promote public transportation or carpooling, provide bike parking areas too, encourage eco-friendly commuting. Green transportation, right, to reduce or to minimize the carbon footprint ataupun carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide lah. Alright, so for example like Sarawak Cultural Village pun event, Rainforest World Music Festival pun event where the venue that they use is Sarawak Cultural Village, right? Dia akan ada one charter ataupun charter van or charter bus that they use untuk bawa semua audience, alright, from the parking space yang dekat Santubong area to SCV ataupun Sarawak Cultural Village. Everyone need to park their car ataupun their vehicle dekat Santubong Resort, and then from that Santubong Resort they will bring all the audience by using charter bus ataupun charter van, right? Then effective event communications, we have centralized communication hubs. What else? We have event communication apps, macam tadi lah, mobile apps, right? And then comprehensive event run sheet, create detailed run sheet outline activities and responsibilities for coordination execution. We also have RFID or QR code tracking systems. What else? Regular briefings and huddles, and last one is emergency communication calls. Alright, we are almost at the end of the chapters, right? So for post-event debriefing process, so this debriefing process, it has 4 phases. First one is gather the stakeholders, of course. Every stakeholders such as medias, what else, vendors, audiences, maybe just maybe VIP audiences. If we want to gather all the normal audiences, of course it will take a lot of time, right? So we just gather all the important stakeholders only, and then after that, after we have gathered all the stakeholders, we just do open discussions. So whatever things that need to be approved, of course they need to open up, or they need to voice out, so that we can improve our event in the future. And of course document feedback, so whatever feedback that have been given by the VIPs, by the vendors, and then maybe by the speakers as well, right? We need to write it down, jot it down, and then keep it in a one file, right? So that we can refer it when we're going to organize the same event in the future. We can look again at the feedbacks, and then we can try to avoid whatever weaknesses that they have point out during the open discussion. Okay. Then last one is action planning, right? Of course, the action planning is keep all the document feedbacks, and then try to have a briefing with our staff, and then highlight all the problems or all the weaknesses that have been highlighted by our stakeholders, so that all the staff is aware, and then maybe some of the staff also have ideas, right, that they can share, right? So that we can keep these ideas, and then we can execute these ideas in our future event. And then this is the key stakeholders, macam saya tadi, we doesn't have any time, doesn't have a lot of time kan, if we want to gather all of the audiences that attend our event. So these are the key stakeholders that we can gather. Then we can ask them kan, to give their own opinions. So we have five kan, stakeholders here. We have management team, external contractors, bagi client, steering group, and also funders and sponsors. And then this is the debriefing reports and documentations. We have financial documentations. And then we have event overview. What else? Business plan review. Review the objectives and actions and whether they were achieved. So make sure if we targeting a lot of profits, so we need to check kan whether the profits that we have targeted is achieved or not. Let's say we are targeting around 20k of profits. So we need to check kan whether the 20k is achieved or not, right? And then team and stakeholders, overview of those involved in planning and operations. So all the teams, right, and stakeholders, we need to overview, and we need to check their performance, right? So let's say we have macam stakeholders. One of the stakeholders is volunteers. Kita check lah, and whether the performance is good or not. So let's say the performance is not good, right? Maybe we can find volunteers from any other organizations or any institutions lah, right? And then marketing and communications, analysis of effectiveness and tools employed. The effectiveness of marketing. So of course, yeah, when we are organizing an event, we will do a lot of marketings and promotions, and some of the social platforms, social media platforms will be used by us, right, to promote or to market our event, such as YouTube ka, apalagi TikTok, Threads, alright, Instagram, Facebook. So we need to do analysis on how many likes yang dekat kita pun post, right? How many views that viewing our post dekat that kind of social media tadi, kan, TikTok ke, Facebook ke, ataupun YouTube, right? And then financial documentation. So this one is about financial documentation, fundraising analysis, comparison of actual fundraising against revenue plan. And we need to analyze kan our event fundraising pun and activities. And then apa lagi? Final budget, a detailed showing of income and expenditure, right? And then report distribution and benefits distributed to management, and all the reports need to be distributed to not only management but also steering groups, apa lagi, funders and key personnel, and then serves as a single record for future references. Macam saya tadi, of course, when we plan to organize the same event in the future, so this kind of record keeping atau record documentations can be used in order to avoid any same mistakes happen, right? And then provides basis for recommendations and improvement. Then last one is assess success based on factual information. Right, this is the planning for future events. Of course, for the future events, we have to plan properly so that our event will become more attractive, more efficient, and more practical in terms of the flow of the event, right? In terms of logistics, in terms of sound systems, and so forth. All right. Then these are the key reflection points. We have objective reflections. But I review the business plan. So let's say the business plan is not really effective in generating income or generating profits. So we can add on some activities that can help us to generate income, right? Not only from the vendors. Maybe we can sell our own merchandise, for example. Macam ni lah lebih kurang tidaknya, right? We need to review again our business plan and try to include any activities that have the high potential in order to generate our own income. Okay, and then apa lagi? Update strategically, right? Update planning documents based on what worked and what didn't work. Right? We need to update, right? And then last one is apply lesson learned. Carry forward insights that improve event outcome. So whatever insights that can help us to improve our outcome, we need to carry forward. Kita akan implement lah kan, di masa yang akan datang kelak, right? Okay, class, I think that's all from me right, for this chapter 5. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you so much for your cooperations. And I think this will be the end of our class for this semester. So, what I would like to say is thank you so much for your cooperations. Thank you so much for your patience. And it is very good to know each and every one of you, right? Even though we have not meet frequently, but I I can feel the vibes from your group, and it is very good to be working working with you guys, right? And then what else? Then I would like to say sorry, right? I would like to apologize if there's any lacking of knowledge that I share with you guys, right? I'm really sorry, right? Because another thing is this is my first time teaching EPJJ student, right? Student PJJ. This is my first time, and then to end my speech for today, I would like to say apa yang datang yang baik semuanya daripada Allah, dan apa yang terkurang, apa yang tersilap datangnya daripada diri saya sendiri. So sekali lagi saya ingin mohon maaf, right? And I want to say million thanks to you guys for your patience, for your cooperations, for your attentions in the class, right? Thank you so much, and I wish you guys all the best for your tests and for your future endeavors or future planning. Thank you so much. Till we meet again, and I end my speech by wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.